industry. That's what we've been talking about all day. These guys are probably sick of listening to the same damn thing again. But I was just saying, I was thinking this morning before the first group, like, there's 80 people that show up here. They're all from different backgrounds. Like this girl was, a nurse 6 months ago or whatever.
Still am.
Still am a nurse. I don't know what the hell you did before this.
I sold knives.
You were Cutco?
Yeah, Cutco.
Look at that, dude. No wonder you're such a hustler and a closer.
Yeah.
Those Cutco folks are relentless, dude. But no, it's like, it's an interesting dynamic because, I think most people don't like grow up saying like, hey, I'm going to be in construction or this is what I'm going to do. It's like, but there's something about the industry that's magnetic. It's like when you find your way into it, like I don't think a lot of people leave. If you last here in the industry for a few years, like you kind of just, and I think it's the people that keep you. It's like that there's something about it that, like, I've said this in every group that's come through here today. Like when I worked in corporate America, like it wasn't like this. Like I didn't know the people in that setting the way that I know everybody here. And, and I think the industry's like that. It's like, there's just some commonality, even though everybody comes from like a crazy different background. Like there's just something about it that's like unique and special. And like everybody says it, And so the question is like, what about the industry do you like most identify with? Like what's most unique about it? What makes you passionate on the days that suck, that keep you coming back?
So I think the biggest thing is your team is relying on you. And so if you don't show up, what's going to happen? And so I think I really look into that is like this business and every business that you're in is a people business. So you've got to really build relationships. You've got to build those relationships because you're not just letting yourself down, you're letting other people down. So I think why I show up in the tough days, the tough times, and when I don't feel like doing it, it's the same reason why when you're working out and you just show up, it's consistency. It's making sure that you're doing all the right things, because if you do all the right things, Brian says it all the time, you're not going to fail. And so I think with that being said, it's like you got to just show up for people.
Yeah, I think it's pretty hard to do all the right stuff and get the wrong results. Like over a period of time, it's like, maybe for a day, you might do everything right, get punched in the mouth. Well, like you do it every day for years and years and years, like eventually the tide turns. Like it's just how, otherwise, why the hell would we do this in the first place? Like you just show up with like, just hoping for the best. Like, there's faith, but there's faith in yourself to do the right things, to find the right people. And, that's the other part of it. It's like you do the right things with the right people. It's like an exponential result, right? How about you? What's unique, special, other than like your husband drug you into it?
Actually, I kind of pushed myself into it.
Makes sense. The total boss pushing her way in.
No, I was in nursing, just not really feeling my job at the time. And we were at a position in the company where we were going to possibly franchise or really thinking about it. And we were at a turning point where we just needed more help there. So I was like, hey, I'm bored. I do a lot of this stuff already in a different way. So want me to help? And I did. And I'm really into education and trying to push myself or others or just learning different things. So yes, it's a different field, but it's still like kind of the same. You're still talking to people. It's all relationship based, and you're just moving your avenue around. So I enjoy that aspect.
Yeah, I think it's, every business is a people business, and this one more than others because, the uncertainty of construction. Like you never think about like what we deal with, like the elements, the equipment, the weather delays, the broken down paver or truck, or, the plant breaks down or whatever it may be in your industry. And you guys have a completely different set of challenges than we do in the paving world. But it's like, well, who's going to get over the problems? Like, who's going to solve the problems? It's the people with perseverance, the people that don't, get rattled. Like, I've walked on the job sites, dude, and there's like a guy that's on the shovel. And, like, he's losing his mind because, the truck didn't show up in the right amount of time. You're like, bud, you're not going to make it long in this industry because you got to be able to persevere through a lot of really frustrating things. And, it's the best people. It's those people that see the bigger picture and really are in it for the long haul. I think that's another determining factor. It's like, man, this job would really suck if you were just trying to do it to make money for a month. Like, it would really suck. But if you're making a career out of it, it's like, okay, I'm learning something. I'm not just shoveling asphalt, or I'm not just, replacing a roof. Like, I'm learning a trade. I'm learning a skill. And I think that's really awesome and unique about our industry too, is like, nobody comes to the construction industry like prepared to do what the hell they do. They're like, here's a hammer, here's some nails, let me show you how to do this, right? Yeah. So what makes it unique and special
So
for
I
you?
feel like you kind of just stole exactly
Sorry,
what I was going to
dude.
say. You're
Sorry,
good.
sorry.
You're good. I'll let it slide. No, but it's exactly that. I feel like it's the challenges. Since I was pretty much right out of high school, went right into this field, and it was always the challenges of like just the day in and day out. Like you said, there's always something, and like you had mentioned too, the relationships. It's just to me, it's just a different dynamic than any other job. I actually tried to get out of it, and I came back because I'm like, I miss it. I miss some of the freedom that you have. You're constantly changing things up. The jobs are constantly different. But I think the biggest thing for me is just like the challenges, showing up, like you said, trying to make the effort to, fix whatever issue is coming that day, putting out the fires. For me, that's a big thing.
What's the most challenging part of leadership?
Wow. Well, I guess the most
Like 10 things just loaded into your mind. You're trying to
overflow. I think the most challenging thing is every single person is different. And so if you want to lead one way, you're going to be a terrible leader. And I really think that that's where our world and our nation is really just taken a backward seat. Is like all the leadership is just doing things for one person. So a great leader goes around the room and watches all the strengths of every single person, because your strengths are different than Brian's strengths here. And in Kelsey's, it's like you got to make sure that you're doing everything different in a different way. So when I started being a better leader and really working on myself, because ultimately that's how you become a better leader, is seeing all those detailed things. So if I can say that when I look at every single person in my company, every single leader is different. And so you bring that out. And so if you have that special talent that you can bring that out, watch what happens to those leaders in your company.
I just want to say this too, man. Like, I sit here, watch you, do your thing. We did a podcast before, but it's like, this dude's like a completely different person than the person I met. You were great when I met you, by the way, but like, just, I admire people. I said the same thing to Cisco earlier. I can say the same thing to your husband. Like, I admire people that lean into those things that, they're not, listen, knowing what we all don't do great is real uncomfortable. Right? It's like, there's just a massive amount of insecurity that's produced by the things that we don't do well. And I just have a lot of admiration for the people who lean into it, dude. So, kudos to you, bro. It's like,
Thanks, man.
You've become an unbelievable leader. And I think, those people that are just that leader, it's quiet. It's not like, not that you're a quiet person, but just, the leadership part of it is just like a presence. That's the most power that you feel. It's like somebody doesn't have to like tell you anything. You just see it, right? And there's something about that. How about you, the total boss? What's the most difficult thing about being because there's a dynamic there that's interesting, right? It's like, your husband is running the company. You come in from the outside. That's difficult enough to tell your husband what he's doing wrong. Then you add, you add a whole work element to that. It's just not easy, right? And so, we talk about family businesses. That's not, you don't see many husbands and wives like, Keith Sr. and Lillian, you guys, like there's not many that can actually do it and still love each other and like get along. And really, because you go through, like, you're going to go through debates and arguments, regardless. And then you got to like, learn how to check that at the door. And so how is that? What's the most difficult part of it?
For leadership or for me and Daniel working together?
Leadership. Well,
Leadership?
I don't want to get into
All
that
right.
whole
I could go a rabbit hole on that one. Leadership, I'm still learning on that. I'm still new within, I never did any management stuff in nursing. So in our company, it's a work in progress for me. And it's more trying to not put my opinion on everything and learn from others who've been doing it for a really long time. But I'd say the biggest thing is people, truly. I mean, we're in a business to do pavement maintenance, but really we're in the business for people. And like you said it great that if, at the end of the day, like, we do everything for the people we have there, because if we don't have them, we don't have anything. And I don't know. Daniel always says, I'm going on a rabbit hole, I'm sorry. He always says that, like, if you don't want to be where you're at right now, we will still be with you and find you where you need to be. Like, we're here for you. We want to make sure that you are successful. If it's not with us, it's not the fit for us, for you with us, fine. We'll find you where you need to go. So it's just trying to see and look at the people that you have, all the characteristics they have, how they learn and respond to anything really within the company. So just learning that and taking your ego out of it and just looking at the person.
Yeah, I think you're a great addition to that.
Thanks.
Even though you don't have, maybe you don't feel like you have direct leadership experience, like there's leadership qualities about you naturally. Like if you just watch you operate in a room or watch you operate, like, from day one when you showed up here and didn't know a soul, like you were never out of place. And that's a leadership quality. So, and I think you add a great dynamic to your husband that, otherwise wouldn't exist. So how about you, man? What's the toughest part of leadership?
I personally feel like just having compassion sometimes for people for certain situations and stuff. Now I'm also new to like the leadership role, so I'm still trying to find my way, see what the best way is to kind of coach people. But I feel like having compassion for people.
Like you have too much or not enough?
I feel like I have too much, and then other times it's like I need to decipher. Like, all right, I need to be a little bit more hard.
It's interesting. Everybody that has said that answer today was on that side of compassion. That they're
What do you mean?
They're a softie.
Yes.
No, like nobody said like I'm too hard on people and I need to back off. It's the opposite. It's interesting perspective, right?
Yeah.
That like, people tend to, give more grace than they are hammers, and that's you'd rather be on that side.
That's a
Yeah,
deal.
you think? 'Cause, like,
I
that's
always
where
say, dude,
yeah.
I'd rather be the
100%.
company
And
that gives too many chances rather than the one that doesn't give enough and just blows people out the door.
Yeah, because when I went and I worked for another company, like I had that. I took that approach, and I did have success with it. But again, it was new to me. So like I'm still just trying to find that balance.
hard.
Good stuff.
That's cool.